Why do you need them to approve of you? Sit with that question for a moment, because it's more important than it sounds. Why does it matter so much what they think the coworkers, the family, the strangers online, the crowd, whose opinion you carry around in your chest like a second heartbeat? You already know, intellectually, that their approval doesn't feed you, doesn't pay you, doesn't love you, and yet you chase it anyway. You shape yourself around it. You feel lifted when you get it, and crushed when you don't. And the reason, the real reason, the one Nietzsche would force you to face, is not that their approval is so valuable. It's that you are not yet strong enough to live without it. That's the uncomfortable truth at the center of this whole thing. The need for approval is not really about other people at all. It's about a weakness in you, a place inside you that isn't yet solid, isn't yet self-sufficient, isn't yet strong enough to stand on its own. And so, you reach outward, constantly, for others to fill in what you haven't yet built within. You borrow your sense of worth from the crowd because you haven't yet forged your own. And as long as that inner weakness remains, you will always need them, always be at their mercy, always be handing the crowd the power to lift you up or tear you down. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this better than anyone, and his answer was not the soft, comfortable advice you usually hear, just love yourself, just stop caring what people think. Nietzsche knew that you cannot simply decide to stop needing approval any more than a weak man can simply decide to lift a great weight. The need for approval is a symptom of insufficient strength, and the only real cure is to become strong, to build, through effort and self-overcoming, an inner foundation so solid that you no longer need to borrow one from others. You don't talk yourself out of needing approval, you grow out of it. You become so strong that the need simply falls away, the way a crutch falls away from a man whose legs have healed. Today, I'm going to walk you through Nietzsche's philosophy of strength and approval, why the need for approval is weakness, how strength is actually forged, and how to become so powerful within yourself that the opinions of others lose their grip on you entirely. This will not be the gentle, feel-good version. Nietzsche despised the gentle version. He wrote for people willing to do hard things, to become hard themselves, to forge their own strength in their own fire. But if you're willing to do that work, what waits on the other side is a freedom most people never taste. The freedom of a person who no longer needs anyone's permission to be who they are. If you're ready to become strong enough to stop needing their approval, type, "I'm forging myself" in the comments. Let's begin. Let's start by being honest about what the need for approval actually is, because Nietzsche refused to flatter it, and so will I. We live in a culture that treats the need to be liked as something almost noble, being agreeable, being accommodating, caring what others think, all dressed up as kindness and consideration. But Nietzsche looked underneath the pretty words and saw something else. He saw that much of what parades as virtue is actually weakness in disguise. The person who cannot bear disapproval, who must be liked, who shapes themselves endlessly to win the crowd's acceptance, that person is not being noble. They are being ruled by a weakness they haven't yet overcome. Their agreeableness is often fear. Their accommodation is often cowardice. Their need to please is often the mark of a self too weak to stand on its own. What does not kill me makes me stronger. This is perhaps Nietzsche's most famous line, and it's usually quoted in the context of surviving disasters. But it applies with tremendous force to the daily work of building strength, including the strength to live without approval. Because strength, real strength, is not something you're born with. It's something forged. And it's forged through difficulty, through resistance, through voluntarily facing the things that are hard. The man who avoids all hardship stays weak. The man who faces hardship, endures it, and overcomes it grows strong. And this is exactly the path out of the need for approval. Not avoiding the discomfort of disapproval, but facing it, enduring it, and growing stronger through it. Until the thing that once could crush you can no longer even move you. Now here is where Nietzsche's philosophy becomes genuinely powerful, because he understood something most people miss. Strength is not the absence of weakness, it's weakness that has been overcome. The strong person is not someone who never felt the need for approval. They're someone who felt it, struggled with it, and grew beyond it through deliberate effort. This matters enormously, because it means strength is available to you. You are not doomed to need approval forever just because you need it now. The need is simply a sign of where you currently are on the path, and the path leads somewhere. Through the work of self-overcoming, you can become someone who no longer needs what you desperately need today. The weakness is not your permanent condition, it's your starting point. Man is something that shall be overcome. What have you done to overcome him? This was Nietzsche's central challenge, and it's a challenge he throws directly at you. He believed the fundamental task of a human life is self-overcoming, the continual work of surpassing your current self, mastering your weaknesses, and forging yourself into something stronger and higher than you were. And the need for approval is one of the great things to be overcome. Every time you master a weakness, you become stronger. Every time you face something you feared and survive it, you expand. Every time you overcome the need for others' validation in some corner of your life, you grow more free. Nietzsche is asking you, what have you done to overcome the weakness in yourself? Because that overcoming, that deliberate, effortful self-surpassing is the whole game. It's how a weak person becomes strong, and how a person who needs approval becomes a person who doesn't. So let's get concrete about how this strength is actually built, because Nietzsche was not interested in vague inspiration, he wanted transformation. And the first principle of building strength is this: strength comes from voluntarily embracing difficulty, not avoiding it. The person who needs approval has usually spent their life avoiding the discomfort of disapproval, always choosing the agreeable path, always avoiding the friction of standing out, always sanding down their edges to prevent any conflict. And this very avoidance is what keeps them weak. You cannot become strong by avoiding what's hard. You become strong by seeking it out, facing it, and overcoming it. So the path to needing less approval runs directly through the discomfort of disapproval, through deliberately facing it, enduring it, and discovering that you survive. The secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. To live dangerously in this sense does not mean recklessness. It means refusing the safe, small, approval-seeking life in favor of a bolder one. It means being willing to risk disapproval in pursuit of your own authentic path. It means saying the true thing even when it might not be liked, pursuing what you actually want even when it's not admired, standing out even when blending in would be safer and more approved of. Every time you live a little more dangerously, a little more boldly, a little more authentically, a little more willing to risk the crowd's disapproval, you build strength. And with each increment of strength, the need for approval loosens its grip a little more. The bold life and the free life are the same life. You cannot have one without the other. Now let's talk about where your worth is going to come from, because this is the heart of the whole matter. The person who needs approval gets their sense of worth from outside, from the crowd's validation, from being liked and accepted and praised. Their worth is external, borrowed, dependent. And Nietzsche's entire project of becoming strong comes down to this: moving the source of your worth from outside to inside. Becoming the kind of person who generates their own worth from within, according to their own values and their own judgment, rather than borrowing it from the fickle opinions of others. This is the foundation of real strength, and it's what makes approval unnecessary. When you generate your own worth, you no longer need anyone else to provide it. He who cannot obey himself will be commended. Here is the principle in its sharpest form. If you cannot command yourself, set your own values, determine your own worth, live by your own standards, then you will be commanded from outside, ruled by the approval and disapproval of others. The person who validates themselves from within is self-commanding, sovereign, free. The person who needs external validation is commanded by the crowd, ruled by whoever's approval they crave. And the whole work of becoming strong is the work of learning to command yourself to become the author of your own values and the source of your own worth, so that you rule yourself from within, rather than being ruled from without. This is not arrogance, it's sovereignty. It's the strength to be the master of your own life, rather than a subject of the crowd's opinion. Let me address something crucial here, because Nietzsche's philosophy of strength is constantly misunderstood and twisted into something ugly. Becoming strong enough to not need approval does not mean becoming cruel, arrogant, or contemptuous of others. It does not mean stomping on people, dismissing everyone, or taking pleasure in being disliked. That's not strength. That's a different kind of weakness. The weakness of a person so insecure they need to tear others down to feel powerful. The genuinely strong person, in Nietzsche's deepest sense, has no need to be cruel, precisely because they're secure in themselves. They can be generous, even kind, because their kindness now flows from strength and abundance rather than from a fearful need to be liked. The weak person is nice because they need approval. The strong person can be kind because they don't. The difference is everything. One is a bargain made from need. The other is a gift given from fullness. And there's another misunderstanding to clear away. Becoming strong enough to not need approval is not the same as not caring about anyone or becoming coldly isolated. The strong person can have deep relationships, can value others' company, can even care what certain trusted people think. The difference is that they no longer times need, times it. Their sense of worth doesn't depend on it. They can connect with others from a place of strength and choice rather than desperate need. And paradoxically, this makes their relationships far healthier. Because a person who doesn't need your approval can be honest with you, can disagree with you, can be their true self with you, while a person who desperately needs your approval can only ever perform for you. Strength doesn't destroy connection. It makes real connection possible for the first time. Now let's go deeper into the actual forging of strength, because I want you to understand the process, not just the goal. Nietzsche understood that becoming strong is not a single decision, but a discipline, a continual practice of self-overcoming, repeated over time, that gradually transforms a weak person into a strong one. And it works like physical training. You don't become physically strong by deciding to be strong. You become strong by lifting progressively heavier weights, over and over, until your body adapts and grows powerful. Inner strength works exactly the same way. You become strong enough to not need approval by progressively facing disapproval over and over in increasing doses until your inner self adapts and grows powerful enough that disapproval no longer moves you. That which is done out of love always takes place beyond good and evil. There's a subtle point buried here that matters for your strength. When your actions flow from your own genuine values, from what you truly love, what you truly believe, what you truly are, they carry a power that approval-seeking actions never have. The approval seeker acts to be liked. Their actions are hollow, calibrated, performed. The strong person acts from their own authentic values, from love of their own path, and there's a solidity to that which no amount of external validation could provide. When you act from your own genuine values, rather than from the need for approval, you're standing on your own ground, and that ground is far more stable than the shifting sands of others' opinions. Build your life on what you authentically value, and you build on rock. Build it on approval, and you build on sand. So here is the training regimen, the actual practice of forging the strength to not need approval. Let me give it to you clearly, because Nietzsche wanted transformation, not just understanding, and transformation requires practice. The first practice is to deliberately face disapproval in small, progressive doses to train the muscle of strength by using it. Start where you are. Express a genuine opinion that you know won't be universally liked. Make a choice the crowd wouldn't applaud. Let yourself be seen doing something authentic rather than approved of. And then, endure the discomfort that follows and notice that you survive it. This is exactly like lifting a weight. It's uncomfortable, it's effortful, and it makes you stronger. Each time you face disapproval and survive, your inner strength grows and the need for approval weakens. Start with small weights and progressively increase. Over time, through this deliberate practice, You'll become able to bear levels of disapproval that would have crushed you before, because you'll have forged, through repetition, the strength to bear them. The second practice is to build your own internal standards and values so you have something solid to stand on. The person who needs approval has usually never done the work of determining for themselves what they actually value, what they believe a good life is, what standards they want to hold themselves to. And so, having no internal standard, they default to the external one, the crowd's approval. The work of strength is to build your own standard. Sit down and genuinely ask yourself, what do I actually value? What kind of person do I want to be? By what measure will I judge my own life? And then begin to live by that internal standard and to validate yourself according to it. When you have your own solid standard, you no longer need the crowds because you have something better, a measure of worth that comes from within and that no one can take from you. Become who you are. This command is the whole goal of the strength you're building. All this forging, all this self-overcoming, all this facing of disapproval, it's in service of becoming who you actually are, rather than the approval-seeking performance you've been. The weak, approval-needing self is not your true self. It's a diminished version, shaped by fear, contorted to be liked. The strong self is your true self. The one that lives by its own values, pursues its own path, and becomes what it was capable of becoming. Every increment of strength you forge frees a little more of your true self from the prison of needing approval. And the goal of the whole process is to become, fully and without apology, who you truly are: strong, sovereign, authentic, and free. The third practice is to embrace hardship rather than avoiding it across your whole life, because the strength you build in one area transfers to others. The person who deliberately does hard things, who takes on difficult challenges, who pushes themselves, who refuses the easy and comfortable path, builds a general strength of character that makes them more resilient everywhere, including in the face of disapproval. Nietzsche believed that a life of pure comfort and ease produces weak, dependent people, while a life that embraces difficulty and struggle produces strong, self-sufficient ones. So seek out difficulty, do the hard thing, take the challenging path, not out of masochism, but because difficulty is the forge in which strength is made, and a strong person, strong in general, is far less likely to need the crutch of others' approval. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. Nietzsche understood that the struggle, the chaos, the difficulty within us is not something to be eliminated, but something to be harnessed, the raw material from which we forge something magnificent. The discomfort you feel at the prospect of disapproval, the struggle to become strong, the chaos of overcoming your own weakness, all of it is the raw material of your transformation. Don't wish it away. Don't seek the smooth, comfortable, approval-filled life that would leave you weak. Embrace the chaos and struggle of becoming strong, because it's precisely out of that struggle that something remarkable is born. A self strong enough to stand alone, to live by its own values, to no longer need anyone's approval. The dancing star is forged in the chaos. Your freedom is forged in the struggle. And the fourth practice, the deepest one, is to learn to love your own fate, to embrace your life, your path, your struggles as your own, chosen and affirmed. Nietzsche called this amor fati, the love of one's fate, and he considered it the mark of a truly strong soul. The person who needs approval is always, in a sense, wishing to be someone else, someone more admired, more accepted, more approved of. But the strong person affirms who they are and what their life is, embraces their own path with all its difficulties, and would not trade it for the approval of anyone. When you reach the point of loving your own fate, genuinely affirming your own life and path as yours, the approval of others becomes irrelevant, because you're no longer wishing to be someone the crowd would prefer. You've embraced being exactly who you are, and a person who loves their own fate needs no one's permission to live it. My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. This is the summit of the strength Nietzsche points toward. To want nothing to be different, to affirm your life so completely that you would embrace it exactly as it is to become utterly free of the need for external validation. Because the need for approval is always a form of wanting things to be different, wanting to be more liked, more accepted, more approved of than you are. But the person who has reached amor fati wants nothing to be different. They affirm their life, their self, their path completely. And in that complete self-affirmation, the need for others' approval simply dissolves because there's nothing left to seek from the outside. They have given themselves the deepest possible approval, the affirmation of their own entire existence, and next to that, the opinions of the crowd shrink to nothing. Here is what Nietzsche ultimately understood, and what I want you to carry out of all of this. The need for approval is weakness, not a moral failing, but simply a sign of insufficient strength, a place inside you that hasn't yet been forged solid. And the answer is not to shame yourself for the weakness, and not to pretend you don't feel it, but to do the real work of becoming strong, to face difficulty rather than avoiding it, to build your own values and standards, to endure disapproval in progressive doses until it no longer moves you, to embrace the struggle and chaos of self-overcoming. And finally, to affirm your own life so completely that you need no one's permission to live it. This is not a quick fix. It's a forging, a discipline, a transformation that happens over time through effort. But it's real, and it works, and it leads somewhere most people never reach. Because on the other side of that forging is a kind of freedom that has to be experienced to be believed. The freedom of a person who has become so strong within themselves that the opinions of others simply lose their power. Who can be disliked without being diminished, disapproved of without being shaken, rejected without being destroyed, because their strength comes from within, from a foundation they built themselves, that no crowd can touch. They walk through the world sovereign and self-possessed, living by their own values, becoming who they truly are, needing no one's approval because they've become strong enough to generate their own worth. And that strength, that self-sufficiency, that freedom, it's the most valuable thing a person can possess because it can never be taken away. It's yours, forged by you, belonging to you alone. The crowd will always be there, ready to approve or disapprove, ready to lift you up or tear you down if you let them. The only question is whether you'll remain weak enough to need their verdict or become strong enough that it no longer matters. And that's not a matter of deciding to stop caring. It's a matter of doing the work, the real, effortful, sometimes uncomfortable work of forging yourself into someone strong, someone who has overcome the weakness that made approval necessary, someone who stands on their own foundation, lives by their own values, and needs no one's permission to exist. That person is available to you, not through a decision, but through a forging. And the forging can begin today. So the choice before you is Nietzsche's choice. Stay weak and dependent, forever needing the approval you're too weak to live without, or begin the hard, magnificent work of becoming strong until the need simply falls away like a crutch from healed legs. You are not meant to spend your life begging the crowd for permission to feel worthy. You are meant to become strong, to forge yourself, to overcome yourself, to become who you truly are. And the strength to no longer need their approval is not a gift you're waiting to receive. It's a fire you light yourself and forge yourself in until you emerge as something no crowd can shake. So, I'll leave you with the only question that matters. Will you stay weak enough to keep needing their approval, or will you do the work of becoming so strong that you no longer need it at all? If your answer is the second one, drop "I am my own foundation" in the comments right now. Speak it into existence. Make that promise to yourself, because the approval you've been chasing was never going to make you strong. Only the forging makes you strong. And on the other side of that forging is the freedom Nietzsche spent his life pointing toward, the freedom of a soul so strong, so sovereign, so completely its own. that the whole world's approval and disapproval wash over it like water over stone and leave it standing exactly as it is, needing nothing from anyone, finally and completely free.